Tim McDonald, is suing 22-year-old Camille Raciniak and her boyfriend, 20-year-old Michael Wahab, for filing a false police report after an incident of road rage.
All rise. Now, this is case number 363 on the calendar in the matter of McDonald versus Wahab Raciniak. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. McDonald, it is your claim that the defendants filed false charges against you. I believe that the charges emanated from an instance of what we've come to call road rage that happened about a year ago.
That's correct.
The defendant said that you were acting erratically, that what they were trying to do was to secure your license plate number so that they could forward it to the police when this incident occurred. You didn't know each other prior to this incident, is that correct?
No. That's correct.
And you had a trial, Mr. McDonald?
Yes, I did.
And you were acquitted?
I was acquitted on all 3 charges in 37 minutes.
When was the incident?
October 24th, 2004 at 2 o'clock.
And what kind of car were you driving, sir?
I was driving a BMW Z3 convertible with the top down.
Do me a favor. Just let me ask the questions and try to give me just the answers that I need.
You bet.
Where were you going, Mr. McDonald?
I had seen an open house sign on a street called Edwards, and I was following an open house sign into a track that I had never been in.
Tell me what happened, Mr. McDonald.
Well, as I was going through the track, I realized that there was a car in front of me. It was driving in an erratic fashion. What I mean by that, it would slow down to about 5 miles an hour, speed up 6.
So listen to me. Don't interrupt him. You're going to have an opportunity to testify. Don't interrupt him.
Sorry, ma'am.
Go ahead.
All of a sudden, I see her kind of go to the right. And I took that as her politely moving off to the right to let me go by.
How many lanes of traffic were there?
This street is a little unusual, and I have a picture over here that I took. If I may move over here to show you. Back here is where I'm seeing all the information going.
I just want to know how large the street was, Mr. McDonald. So that's the street that it was on, so there can be a parked car on either side and 1 lane of traffic.
Easily.
4 car lanes.
Correct.
Keep going.
The minute I went by her car, she lays into the horn, honk, all the way around till I get in front. And I look in my rearview mirror, and simultaneously, I see both fingers go out the window on each side. So that kind of set the mood that was going on. And what I did is I gave a wave like this. My error. But I actually thought that was a polite movement on her in the very beginning. Oh. So as I go by, and I'm looking in my rearview mirror, I see this go on. They make a left turn. I think, okay, that's the end of it. Instead, they flipped a U-turn and now coming at me. They caught me at the stop sign, and his window's down. She pulls the car right up next to me to the left of my side, and there's nothing but screaming going on. So I looked at Miss Resnick, and I said, "You're driving like an idiot." And then I turned right. They turned left. I thought that was the end of it. Nope. So I'm going down the street here, and as I go down the street, the road, as it shows, veers off to the left. As soon as I got around that corner, they're right back on my butt again. Now the problem is, I have them, having gone off to the left, time's taken, and I think they've got a weapon with them. They're staying between a half a car length and a car length behind my car.
How fast were you going, Mr. McDonald, at this point?
Probably about 25, 30 at the most.
Did you ever accelerate beyond 25 to 30 miles? When?
When we came down the long street after they'd been tailgating me, I spotted people at the very end of the block. I mean, it's like the movie Duel, where I've got these people just bearing down on me. I don't know what they have in their possession.
What kind of car were they driving?
A white Malibu, I think is what it was. Okay. Like a mid-sized car. So they're behind me. I see people down at the end of the road. I accelerate and pull immediately in front of their house.
Uncross your hands.
At the exact moment that I'm pulling over, and I get out of my car to yell to somebody to call the police, Miss Resnick takes her car and pulls in front in a wedge fashion.
Okay. So she parks and blocks you.
Correct. And all this whole thing that's going on is predicated on one idea that you said. They wanted to get my license plate. And I can show 15 different times that they could have. The truth meant, sure.
Life has a rhythm to it. There are certain things that are common sense, and there are certain things that are not. You don't have to fill in the blanks for me.
Okay.
If I need for you to fill in the blanks, Mr. McDonald, I'll ask you.
Okay.
Keep going.
So as soon as I get out of the car, she pulls the car over, he jumps out of the car and immediately starts coming toward me. Now at this point, I take a step toward him and I say, in the best voice I can, "Get back in your car!"
Okay.
"Get back in your car!" And it worked. He turned around right there, but Miss Resnick didn't leave it there. She puts her car in reverse. Your Honor, I have the transcripts Of the court proceeding, I have it on audio, and I would appreciate to be able to at least play a couple tracks to give you a flavor of what happened.
She put the car in reverse.
Correct.
Go ahead.
And as she put the car in reverse, Mr. Wahab goes back to the...
Mr. Wahab. Mr. Wahab.
Sorry.
You have problem controlling yourself, sir?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
You have problem controlling your temper, sir?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Well, it sounds to me as if you do, sir. You don't want to create that kind of impression, do you?
No, I don't.
You see, you've already done it. You only have one chance to make a first impression, Mr. Wahab.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've made a bad one so far.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. Wahab gets out of the car. I tell him to go back. He gets back in the car.
You told me that already.
As Miss Rusnick's backing the car up, he jumps in the car, shuts the door, and you think it would end there. No. She keeps the car coming right back at me. I move out of the way, and just like she did at the stop sign, she stops this car door right here, the window's down, and I said, "Get out of here!" Now, let me back up a minute.
When you said get out of here,
sure,
you made a slapping or punching motion.
Correct.
You hit the car?
Correct.
Did you hit it with your fist, with your hand? Did you
Open right hand.
Okay. Did you kick the car at all?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And then what happened?
So I hit it 3 times, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here, and as I'm saying that, I see Mr. Wahab either rearing back, like he was going to go back and kick me through the window, which I can't believe could be true,
Fine.
or...
Well, you don't know. Don't speculate.
Okay, well, I see something coming at me. And as I lean back to deflect it, she has a car and drive, and they take off.
Okay.
But they don't. She flips the car around and U-turns. Stops again.
Gosh.
Just on the other side of the road. He pops back out again. I say, "Get back in that car." He gets back in the car instantly. She takes off again. But that's not it. She goes forward again. She stops again. He pops out of the car, but this time, there's a guy that was standing on the other side. A lot of people were evidently watching this thing. He goes over to Mr. Wahab, puts his hand on his shoulder and said, "It's not worth it, it's not worth it." Now, here's what I know.
Don't tell me what you know.
This is what I was thinking.
I don't care what you were thinking.
Okay. I left.
You left. Fine. Do you have a copy of the police report
Yes, I do.
that Ms. Rusniak and Mr. Wahab filed?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please. Now, you were subsequently arrested, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
What were you charged with, sir?
I was charged with 242 battery of Mr. Wahab, disturbing the peace, challenging to fight against Mr. Wahab, and then vandalism, property, crime against Ms. Rusnick.
Who's going to speak for you? Both of you to start? Go ahead.
First, I would like to say that this man put my life in jeopardy. He really did.
No, you put your life in jeopardy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had a cell phone.
No, we did not have a cell phone, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I can prove that they have a cell phone.
I wasn't on the cell phone up until the point where I tried to call the police.
Oh, madam, are you telling me that you just lied to me when you said you didn't? I'm speaking!
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tim McDonald says he incurred attorney fees as a result of false charges filed by Camille Rusiniak and Michael Wahab. The couple claims Tim was driving like a maniac.
You put your life in jeopardy. I'm going to tell you why you put your life in jeopardy. Because according to what I read in the police report, your statement, you felt as if this man was driving too fast in a residential street. So you decided to try to get his license plate.
That's not all it was.
That's the reason, because there had been no altercation up until that time.
Actually, there was.
Oh, you explain that to me.
Well, as you see the street here, I live on not this street that's cut off, but the one in front of the Suburban right there.
So?
That's my street. I was turning left onto that street.
So?
He almost caused me to have an accident. He went around me on the left-hand side as I was making my left-hand turn.
He was driving, I said, he was driving erratically, and you said he put your life at risk. You put your life at risk.
I admit, I should have never followed him, and I will never do it again.
That's right.
I learned my lesson on that one.
That's right.
But he did physically assault me and my boyfriend.
Listen to me very carefully. You got hot, and you did a very dumb thing. You followed him, and you followed him, and you chased him several times.
I never...
Yes, you did. You followed him in order to, according to you, get his license plate number. But these are your statements, not mine. You told the police that she was so offended by this vehicle's unsafe driving that they made a U-turn and then made a U-turn back to attempt to get his license plate number of the vehicle to report it to the police. They said they pulled up alongside the vehicle at a stop sign. Well, what'd you do that for? If you wanted to get his license plate number, get his license plate number and call the police, but that's not what you did. And asked him why he was driving so recklessly. So let me figure this out. You were very offended by the way he was driving. You made 2 U-turns in order to catch up with him. That's what you told the police, unless you say the police are lying. And you didn't get his license plate, but you pulled up to him and, according to you, said to him in a calm way, "Why are you driving so recklessly?" Do you know how ridiculous that sounds?
No.
Do you know how ridiculous? I'm not saying he's right. I'm saying to you that somewhere between what you're going to tell me and what he told me is the truth. That's probably why the jury acquitted him. Now, who are you? You are 2 people. He's 1 person in a car. He doesn't know who you are. He doesn't know whether you have good intentions, bad intentions. He has no clue. All he knows is, according to you, you have turned around and followed him on at least 3 occasions. And at that point, you are 2 nuts following him, and he doesn't know what you have in mind. So now what you're complaining about is that he dented your car. I would have hit your car. I would have taken a brick and thrown it through the windshield if 2 people were following me over a dissing incident.
That's not what it was about in the least.
Well, that's what it was about, madam. If you didn't get the license plate number calmly and call the police, you had a cell phone.
No, I
No,
didn't.
we did not have a cell phone, Your Honor.
Oh, and you had no pen?
No.
No,
Oh, we
I did have a pin, but we were unable to get his license plate number.
he was driving too
and my
fast.
first intention was not to get his license
He
plate
had
number.
pulled over and stopped.
Your Honor, I can prove that they have a cell phone. I can prove it without a doubt.
How can you prove that?
I wasn't on the cell phone up until the point where I tried to call the police, sir.
Oh, madam, are you telling me that you just lied to me when you said you didn't? I'm speaking. Are you telling me that you just lied to me when you said I didn't have a cell phone?
We don't have a cell phone on us.
Where was the cell phone?
At my
At
house.
the house.
Just a second. You say you can show me that she had a cell phone in the car?
What they forgot was that they had called 911 from the cell phone.
Okay,
Yeah.
prove it.
Let me see.
No, I did call.
Mr. Wahab, let me explain to you twice now what you did, sir. You showed me that you cannot control your temper.
I
2
can
times.
control my temper, Your Honor.
2 times in a courtroom. So if you can't control yourself in a courtroom, what are you doing out in the street when somebody drives by and flips off your girlfriend? Ooh.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If somebody had just assaulted my passenger, I wouldn't have said this guy in a BMW had some serious issues.
The operator never let us finish our statement.
Listen, let me tell you something. I heard this very, very clearly. Nobody cut you off.
No.
Nobody cut you off.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tim McDonald claims fellow motorists Camille Raciniak and Michael Wahab chased him down during an incident on the road. He is suing for a false police report.
You have something that's going to show me that they had a cell phone?
Correct.
Show me.
I also have audio tape of the transcripts.
Okay, what kind of car was it? It was a convertible red BMW 2-door. And it was a male driver? Yes. He has some issues. Okay, what's the cell phone number you're calling from? 714. Okay.
2 things I'll show, Your Honor, if I may.
But just 1 second. Mr.
Sure.
McDonald, that doesn't demonstrate to me that they had a phone in the car.
No,
That...
I'm sorry, but I actually have her statement in court saying that she called on the way back
Oh,
to
let
the
me
house.
see. I'd like to see that.
And I also have the certified copy of the
Your Honor?
transcripts complete.
He said that we pulled over to a red curb on the street. There's no red curb on that street,
Mr.
though.
Wahab, we're not talking about red
All right,
curb.
I'm sorry.
Sir, the first thing
I don't
I'm
even know why I'm here today.
Just a second. Well, look at me, and I'm going to tell you. You're here today because he's suing you.
Yeah, obviously.
He's suing you, and one of the things that surprised me about Ms. Rusniak's call to the police is her statement to the police, which I believe said something, and I'm paraphrasing, the guy's got some serious issues. Well, I want to tell you something. If somebody had just assaulted my passenger, as you claim, I wouldn't have said this guy in a BMW had some serious issues. I would have said this guy driving erratically has just assaulted my passenger. He kicked and punched my car. Something is clearly wrong with him. Not in a almost lackadaisical way. I'm speaking. Almost, we can hear it again. Almost lackadaisical way. You're reporting that this guy's got some issues.
The operator never let us finish our statement.
Let me tell you something. I heard this very, very clearly. Nobody cut you off.
No.
Nobody cut you off.
He didn't play the whole tape.
You know when I said to you before, life has a rhythm, and if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. Somebody comes into my apartment in the middle of the night, takes a knife and puts it to my throat, and assaults me. While they're leaving, they steal a teacup. When I call 911, I don't say somebody just came into my house and stole a teacup. I say someone came into my house, put a knife to my throat, and assaulted me. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes,
I heard him in the background.
He was freaking out, and I was trying to be the calm one.
I heard him in the background. All right, let me see where you say she had the cell phone in the car.
Page 31, line 8
Okay.
in the transcript. I have the excerpts, and then I have, and that's a certified transcript.
Now, Mr. McDonald, you think I'm finished with you? I haven't started with you yet.
Okay.
Because I can tell what happened here. Anybody who's lived as long as I have knows exactly what happened.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm not sure you weren't behaving a little erratically, and I'm not sure you didn't lose your temper and didn't use a lot of foul language.
I don't use foul language at all, Your Honor. Not at all.
Not according to the witnesses, sir. According to the witnesses, they say that you were using a little foul language.
That's where
That may be.
that's where it fell apart in court. They never showed up.
Well, they may not have showed up for whatever reason, but that's what the witnesses said initially when they spoke to the police, whether they didn't want to get involved, whether they were neighbors, who knows. Page what?
Page 31, I believe it was line 8.
It's what you said, my dear. I'm going to read it to you. You backed up to help your boyfriend get into the car quicker, right? Yes. And then you leave. Yes. Okay, and you don't see the BMW anymore, correct? Not after I drove off. Okay, do you remember when you called 911? Yes, it was right as I was driving away.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, because...
Well, that's what it says. Now, I would assume that the trial of this case, you remember things more clearly than you do today because it was closer in time to the event. Aside from the fact it doesn't make sense. Everybody keeps their cell phone in a car. So the fact that you say to me I didn't have my cell phone in the car was a crock. How much did this whole escapade cost you, Mr. McDonald?
He was able to do it for $3,500 as long as I supplied him with all the information.
But in court, you said that you got acquitted in 37 minutes. We were there.
No, it doesn't matter.
It
also, you said
Listen
that you
to
never
me.
touched my...
Third time, you couldn't control yourself. Not the first, not the second. Third time, you couldn't control yourself. So you can't control yourself, and she doesn't know how to tell the truth. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
And, Your Honor, you're
Step
aware
out.
that I have judgments against each of it individually, correct?
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's it. You got it.
All right, are excused. You may step out.
24-year-old Timothy Rodriguez is suing his ex-girlfriend, 25-year-old Elizabeth Johnson, for crashing his truck twice. Elizabeth claims Timothy is an abusive man.
That's case number 277 on the calendar in the matter of Rodriguez versus Johnson. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Mr. Rodriguez, Ms. Johnson was your girlfriend for a period of time, and it is your claim that on 2 occasions she caused an accident which damaged your truck, and you want her to pay to have your truck repaired.
Yes.
Ms. Johnson acknowledges that there were 2 accidents in the truck while she was driving. Her answer seems to indicate that you told her at the time it was no big deal and you would take care of fixing them. She has a counterclaim, and her counterclaim is that you have bad temper, that you damaged the apartment by putting holes in the wall with your fist, and that at one point you assaulted her. That's her counterclaim. Is that right?
Yes.
Who is this lady?
Oh, that's my daughter's mother.
Can you tell me why she's here?
She was a witness to a phone call that I spoke with Elizabeth about my payments to my truck for the damages.
I see.
And she heard the conversation with her.
And how old is your daughter?
My daughter's 2.
Is that your only child?
I have 2 other children, too.
You thought about that for a second. How old are your other 2 children?
I got one that's 10 and one that's 8.
And who do they live with?
They live with their mother.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Rodriguez?
I'm a union carpenter,
How much do you earn a year?
roughly about $40,000.
And your 8 and 10-year-old, they live with their mother? And what
Yes.
does their mother do for a living?
She's just a stay-at-home mom.
You must be very wealthy.
No,
Well, who supports your 8 and 10-year-old children?
I do.
How much do you send them?
I send the mother probably about $500–600 a month.
You send her about $500 or $600.
It all depends on how much money she needs throughout the month.
You have a court order, sir?
No.
Even if I believed, sir, that you sent her $500 a month, she's not supporting herself and 2 children on $500 a month. How does she support herself?
Her boyfriend.
She lives with a boyfriend,
Yes.
and he supports her.
Yes.
What does he do for a living?
I'm not even sure.
Don't you see your children?
Yes.
And you have no idea. Well, how often do you see your children?
I see him like probably about 3 times a month.
Somehow, Mr. Rodriguez, I'm not getting the sense that I'm getting truthful answers from you, sir. But I'm going to find out. Now, this young lady who's here has a 2-year-old child.
Yes.
You under court order to pay her support?
Yes.
How much?
I pay her $83 a week, a total of $103 a week for arrears, $20 towards arrears of child support.
So there was a time when you weren't paying child support?
Yes, before I got into the union.
And how much do you owe her?
Right now, the remaining balance on it is $600 and some change.
And how does she support herself?
She has a full-time job.
Who takes care of the baby?
Daycare.
Who pays for the daycare?
Her and I both share daycare.
How much do you pay towards the daycare?
$43 a week.
So far, is all that correct?
Yes.
$1,221 a month you pay out.
Yes.
You're going to get there. Who do you live with?
I live with my mom.
You pay rent?
Yes.
How much?
$300 a month.
You have a car?
Yes.
Pay insurance?
Yes.
How much?
That's $2,300 every 6 months.
$22,000, like $23,000. We're up to $23,000, right?
Yes.
You see where I'm going, sir? You eat?
Yes.
You have credit cards?
No.
Pay for everything in cash?
Yes.
You have a truck payment?
Yes.
What's your truck payment?
$387 a month.
$400 a month.
Yes.
So now we're up to about $30,000 a year.
I also work a second job, full-time.
Oh, the courts know about that?
Yes.
Betcha. They don't. How much do you earn but they will now. How much do you earn at the second job?
To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure. I'm up to $7 an hour on that job. Sometimes I work 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week.
The reason I'm asking you all of these questions, Mr. Rodriguez, is I was really interested in Miss Johnson's answer. While she acknowledged that she was in these minor accidents with your car, there was a little damage, she says that her mother, I assume this is her mother,
Yes.
was nice enough to loan you $6,000 to pay back child support.
Your Honor, that wasn't all for child support.
What was it for?
Well, it was $1,900 of it went to child support.
So $2,000, according to you, went for
Yes.
child support. And the
Yes.
other $4,000?
The other $4,000, I paid some bills that I had that were past due. And then it was like $2,000 of it that me and Elizabeth went out and spent.
You borrowed $6,000 from her and you signed a note?
Yes.
Have you paid it back?
I have.
Ah is not an answer.
No.
When did you borrow the money?
May 6th.
I believe it was like July 24th
May 6th.
or May 6th. May have been May 6th.
May, July, they sound alike. Why haven't you paid it back?
Elizabeth got a restraining order against me, and the judge told me not to make any contact with them whatsoever.
Are you mad? I mean, is that the reason you're giving me? You have to understand, Mr. Rodriguez. I can tell phonies from at least 10 feet away. The fact that she's got a restraining order against you doesn't mean you can't send a Federal Express to her mother with a payment.
I asked the judge that. He said no contact whatsoever if she wanted her money from me.
Are you kidding me? You mean that but for that, the money would have been in her hands already?
Yes. I went to
Really?
court today at a restraining order, and I had to check for her.
Good. Perfect. Do you have it with you?
No, not today.
What do you know? I would have taken it for her. You got a spare check in your wallet?
No,
Take a look.
I didn't bring any checkbooks or nothing today.
See why I don't trust you, Mr. Rodriguez? Because you tell such good stories. You may tell them over and over again. And you actually believe that you can come here and tell me a story.
Your Honor, it's not a story.
Which irritates me.
It's not a story.
Which irritates me. Well, Mr. Rodriguez, you knew you were coming to a neutral setting today. You knew that you owed this lady the money. Nothing would have prevented you from saying, Judge, while I'm here, because I'm asking you as a court of equity to take care of this problem that I have, I want to take care of my debts, and I owe her $6,000. So I would really like to be able to give you the check for her, because I have the money. I'd like to give you the check so that you can give it to her and I won't be violating any restraining order. You got it.
Yes.
Now, Ms. Johnson, I want you to tell me about the first accident you had with Mr. Rodriguez's car.
I was picking him up from work. It was a little wet out, and the tractor trailer was coming into my lane, so I hit the brakes and I hit the guardrail instead of him hitting me, so that's what happened.
And how much damage was done to the car?
I have pictures.
I'd like to see it. And what was the date of that incident?
I'm not exactly sure. It's sometime in June. This is the side of the damage.
And I'd like you
this
to
is
keep
the
your
other side.
voice up because, you know, my hearing isn't what it used to be when I was 12. Oh, well, you did a damage to the light and to the bumper. What year truck is this, Mr. Rodriguez?
A 98.
Did you cover this on your insurance?
No.
Why not?
I didn't call it into the insurance company because I feel as though why should my insurance go for an accident she had in my truck?
Okay. Did she say she would fix it?
Yes, she did.
How much is the estimate that you got to fix it?
$23,1509.
And tell me about the second accident,
The
Ms.
second
Johnson.
accident, we were driving to a second job, and he was arguing with me, and I was stopped at a red light, and the light turned green, and he was still arguing with me, and I looked over at him, and I thought the cars were going, so I started to go, and then I tapped somebody in the back because he had stopped.
You have a picture of the damage?
I don't have a picture
Your
of that.
Honor, I have
There's a
pictures.
little dent in the middle of the...
I'd like to see it.
There are pictures of the car that she hit and my truck also.
Well, that's the same bumper that's going to have to be repaired. When they take the bumper off and they fix it from the first accident, they're going to fix the second one.
Well, the first one where she hit, it was only the side fender and the light and a
No,
couple
no,
of
no, no,
scratches
no,
on
no,
the
it
side of
wasn't.
the bumper.
No, it wasn't. It was down here. And here.
Yes.
And this one is right in the middle, right here. Is that right?
Yeah. and-
Well, then they take it off. They'll fix them both. Now, that's your case. What makes you think he forgave this debt?
He told me when he was trying to get back with me after I broke up with him, he said, don't worry about it, I'll pay for it. That's what he said.
No.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Now, is that your complaint against
Also,
us?
I have an estimate from the car rental because I'm going to need to rent a car for a week.
Take the bus. Maybe she'll loan you her car. Now, you want to tell me about your counterclaim?
He damaged my holes in the wall. I mean, the holes in the wall.
You have pictures of that?
Yes. The bruise on
When
my
did
arm.
that happen?
The 22nd of July.
Tell me what happened.
I asked some girl called his phone, and he said, how did you get my number? And he hung up on her, so I called her back. She told me that they had conversations, and he kept saying, no, I didn't talk to her, I didn't talk to her. And he swore up and down all three of his kids that
Just
he
a
didn't
sec.
talk to her.
I didn't follow this from the beginning. You have to go through this slowly for me.
Sorry.
You know, I'm not really up on this intrigue. You found somebody's number on his phone?
She had called his cell phone. He picked up the phone and he said, how did you get my number? And then he hung up on her. He got out of the truck to unload a car because we were at his job. And so I called her back. And we were talking.
What'd you do that for?
Just to ask her a
Curious.
question. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have any arguments with the girl on the phone, nothing. So I called her back and she told me that they had conversations and then we hung up. When he got back in the truck, I asked him if he had talked to her. And he said, no, I didn't talk to her. And he swore up and down on all his kids that he didn't talk to her. You know, for about 3 hours he kept saying, no, I didn't talk to her. So he told me, go ahead, check on the Sprint bill. So I went and checked on the Sprint bill. 33 minutes of conversation with the girl's number, and he didn't call her.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
I never denied talking to her.
Yes, you did.
So you had a fight.
It was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and, you know, we were fighting, and he said, I'm tired. I said, well, I'm tired, too. If you didn't lie to me, we wouldn't be going through this. He got so pissed off of me, he picked up the candle off my TV with the glass dish, threw it at me, and hit the wall.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Yes, it is.
How did the holes get in the wall, sir?
I seriously don't know. I did repairs on the mother's house for the bedroom, the bathroom, and the outside siding. Why would
That
I
has
damage a
nothing
house
to
that
do
I
with
just
the holes
fixed?
in the wall.
Just asked you how the holes got in the wall.
I have no clue.
Okay. Did you have the walls fixed?
Yeah, I have an estimate for that. to get him fixed.
Was this in your apartment?
This is in my mother's house in my bedroom.
Was he staying with you?
Yes. For the 4 months that we were going out, he lived at my house.
Why?
Because
I felt bad for
she
him.
asked me to move in with her.
I did not.
After the first time that we went out, she asked me to move in with her.
Mr. Rodriguez, we've only just met, you and I.
Yes.
I can tell you're instantaneously attracted to me. If I said to you, I want you to move in with me, would you do that?
No, I wouldn't.
No. That would be very smart, Mr. Rodriguez.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had marks on your face, and so did he, because you hit him and he hit you. Is
I
that
slapped
right?
him in the face after he threw me on the couch and onto the floor.
It says that you hit him twice.
No, I hit him.
It was more than twice, Your Honor.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Timothy Rodriguez claims ex-girlfriend Elizabeth Johnson owes for 2 accidents with his truck.
I mean, it's so stupid what you said. I mean, do you think you're a stupid man?
No.
You just met her and she asked you to move in with us, so you moved in with her?
Yes.
You have a bridge?
For sale?
Yeah.
I can find one.
You can find one. Okay. According to what I read in your answer, there was something in your answer, Miss Johnson, that suggested to me that you were aware of the fact that Mr. Rodriguez had a bad temper. Is that right, madam?
Yes.
You did. And how did you know that Mr. Rodriguez had a bad temper?
With her. He told me stories. They've been in and out of court for 5 years. She tried to get a restraining order.
Some of it for domestic violence? Is that right?
Yes.
And despite all that, you invited Mr. Wonderful into your house.
Yes.
And your mother, who I don't even want to talk to, was dumb enough to give him money.
Yes.
You must live off a substantial inheritance.
No.
Where did you get the money from that you loaned to him?
I borrowed it off my credit card for him, so he would not go to jail for back child support, which was about $4,000.
Who did you owe back child support to? This lady or the mother of the other 2 children?
This lady.
Stand up. Over there. Did you pursue that matter in court of the back child support? Did you pursue it or did the state pursue it?
I didn't pursue it. They had already, when I had our daughter, I had to call and enter a child support order. We had
Why?
Because we weren't together at the time.
Who was supporting you?
I was living home with my parents, and I had a job.
You never received any government assistance?
No.
So somebody had to report him for not paying child support. That would have had to have been you.
Oh, okay, yes.
That's all. Sit down. Now I got it. Now you say that during this altercation with the candlesticks, he also assaulted you.
Not at that time.
When did he assault you?
I had kicked him out on July 25th. We had a week of nasty phone calls because I wanted my stepfather's tools back that he wouldn't return. And then 2 weeks after that, I was at a funeral, and he called me, he texted me, he said, "I'm sorry about your grandfather," and then I talked to him again. 2 weeks he was begging me to come back to him, "Please take me back, I'm sorry," and that's when.
Well, so then you said okay.
I said okay, and about 2 days later, I spent the night at his friend's house with him, and the next day is when I had to get a restraining order against him.
Well, tell me what happened at the friend's house. Well, you didn't learn your lesson yet, Miss Johnson.
Well, we got into an argument, and I wanted to go home, so he...
About what?
About anything and everything.
Your Honor, about one of my roommates that was walking around in a sports bra.
One of your...
A roommate on where I'm staying at now. She was walking around with a sports bra, doing her dishes, and her boyfriend was there with her, and she freaked out on me about her doing that, and I said to her, there was nothing I could do about her walking around with a sports bra on. It's her house, too. I can't say nothing to her.
No.
And this was all the day before I was supposed to go and have surgery that following Monday.
Surgery on?
I had some medical problems.
So we had an argument. Yes, she was walking in a sports bra.
I don't care if she was walking in a sports bra or if she was walking around with a G-string. It makes no difference to me. I want you to tell me how it came about that you say he put his hands on you.
I'm getting there. So I asked him to take me home, so he took me home, and then on the way home, he, was buttering me up, so I agreed to go back to his friend's house with him. And about 3 hours later, we got into another argument because he was getting jealous because one of my friends was texting me. So then, I said, I want to go home, and he put his hands on me, and he grabbed me and said, no, stay. And I said, no, I want to go home. And I had my bag, I had everything in my hand. He just kept grabbing me, broke my cell phone, he threw it down the stairs. He swung his hands after he threw my cell phone down the stairs and hit me in the eye right here. He threw me onto the couch, onto the floor.
You have a police report?
I do, Your
I have
Honor.
the restraining order. The restraining order, the temporary
No, I
restraining
just
order.
I don't want to see the
You
restraining
want the
order. I want
restraining
to see
orders
police
too? I
report.
got copies of them too.
Of what?
I got copies of the restraining orders too if you want to see them.
Then I'll ask for it. So you had marks on your face, and so did he, because you hit him and he hit you. Is
I
that
slapped
right?
him in the face after he threw me on the couch and onto the floor.
It says that you hit him twice.
No, I hit him.
It was more
I
than
hit
twice,
him.
Your Honor.
Yeah, but according to the police report, you hit him twice.
After he threw my phone down the steps, I hit him on his back, and then he continued to grab me.
I assume you're not going to have anything to do with him anymore, is that right? I'm dismissing your counterclaim. Deal with it. You better smarten up, Miss Johnson. You don't look like a stupid girl, but you've done a lot of stupid things. Now, as far as your complaint is concerned, Mr. Rodriguez, I believe that she owes you for the damage that she acknowledges that she did to the truck. Your estimate was for 23.
I have an agreement, too.
It was for 23-15-09.
2315.
Yes, 09.
We are holding that judgment in abeyance, which means that you will not be getting paid on that judgment. You will get paid on that judgment when this court receives a canceled check, canceled by her, for the amount you owe her. Do you understand?
The full amount?
Do you understand?
$5,300.
Your Honor?
$5,300.
$5,300. When this court receives, sir, proof by way of a canceled check that you have paid the $5,300 remaining on your debt.
Even though we had an agreement signed?
$5,300, sir. When we receive proof that you have paid her, money that you acknowledge that you owe her, is that right?
Yes.
You'll get your check. Do you understand?
Yes.
Goodbye and good luck.
All you are excused, you may step out.
Linda Perez is suing her ex-boyfriend, Joseph Delgado Jr., for throwing a cell phone at her car and for breaking her finger during an argument.
All rise. Yeah, this is case number 379 on the calendar in the matter of Perez versus Delgado. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Perez, how long were you and Mr. Delgado together?
A little over 5 years.
You have no children together?
No children.
Records indicate that this is not the first lawsuit that you filed against Mr.
It is not.
Delgado. When did you separate from him?
We separated in November of '03. I filed a lawsuit against him when I could find him. He was on the run.
Is that around the time that you allege he both damaged your car, which is the subject of this lawsuit, and assaulted you, broke your finger?
It is.
After that happened, he left. You did not live together anymore.
That's correct.
Now, this is one lawsuit. How many lawsuits have you filed, not about this charge, against Mr. Delgado in total? Because our records indicate you have had other cases against
4.
him. For what?
One's not resolved.
Well, what is it about?
A motorhome. I owned 3 houses, 4 cars, and a motorhome. And he took off with the motorhome. I gave him a car. And the other one has to do with tax issues. He hadn't filed taxes in 5 years. And the other one is the broken finger and the laptop.
Just a second. If he hadn't filed taxes in how many years, what does that have to do with you?
He contacted me to try and help him get it done, for my accountant to do it for him.
When had he contacted you?
May of '04.
Did you lend him money, allegedly?
I did.
Has that case been resolved?
That case has been resolved.
In whose favor?
I dropped the lawsuit because he was crying and pleading to drop the lawsuit that he would make a payment.
Ms. Perez, in May of 2004, did you lend him money or allow him to use your account?
I did not loan him money, but he was using my accountant that I'm in good standing with to do his taxes and didn't have a checkbook to pay him with. So I was taking on the debt because it was my accountant.
Were you speaking to her in May of 2004?
Yes, ma'am. We met with the accountant together on May 15th and signed my taxes. She had all my tax records.
You met together?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you met together, did you have lunch before you went to the accountant?
We met at a restaurant with the accountant.
So
on the way.
I'm speaking. So you had lunch together?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you contact Ms. Perez prior to May of 2004?
I had talked to her several times prior to that.
Where were you when you contacted her?
At the same home I'm at right now. I haven't moved or changed phone numbers.
Did you see Ms. Perez at any time between November of 2003 and May of 2004?
No, ma'am.
Did not see her?
No, ma'am.
That is not true.
That's not true.
No.
When did you see him?
I gave him 30 days to remove his items from the house I was moving from San Diego to Los Angeles. He never took everything at one time and kept calling once a day to come pick something else up from the house.
So
that
you
went
saw
on
him.
for January 28th of 04. And I moved on February 26th of 04.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I can show here where I have papers where I sold my house in Oceanside and it closed escrow on January 12th. I have here canceled checks and loan documents were on January 22nd. I was in Kansas City, already purchased another home. I haven't been back here.
It's so fascinating to me because I'm gathering all kinds of information and you are taking positions, each of you, that is inconsistent with the position that you really want to take with regard to this lawsuit, just to fight with each other.
No, ma'am, I'm not. I didn't touch anybody's car and I didn't touch her, and that's my position.
Well, we're going to get there.
Sorry.
But what you're doing is you're not helping yourself because you're not thinking it through. Let me get there for you,
Thank you.
Mr. Delgado. According to your complaint, Ms. Perez, sometime in November of 2003, at about the time that you separated, Mr. Delgado damaged your car. And after he damaged your car, about a week later, you got into an altercation and he assaulted you. You're going to tell me about those two things.
Okay.
Because that's what this lawsuit is about. So let's get there, and let's get there, Ms. Perez, quickly.
The assault actually happened on October 3rd of 03. The last time I ever saw him again was November 18th of 03.
Well, between October 3rd of 03 and November 18th, did you live together?
No.
Did you stay together?
No.
Tell me what happened on October 3rd, 2003.
Okay. He used to work at a hotel chain and called me one day to bring 8 kids home. Their apartments were not ready yet. They were to be employed at the hotel he was working. I allowed him to bring these 8 kids home, and it turned into a fiasco for the next 2 weeks until the apartments were ready. I have evidence of what my house was like, what his behavior was like.
I'm not interested. Could we get to the October 3rd, 2003?
Come to find out, he was fooling around with one of the kids staying at my house and would come home daily in a combative mood, and subsequently threw a cell phone at my car out of anger and took my car drunk, pulled into the garage and ran over a hand dolly. I have pictures before he did that, after he did that.
Was that on October 3rd?
The last event was on October 3rd. That was prior to October.
Talking about the car.
The car was prior to October 3rd.
Date?
September 27th.
Between September 27th and October 3rd, did you live together?
He was keeping hours at the hotel. He would stay at the hotel.
Ms. Perez, between September 27th...
Not as boyfriend and girlfriend, no.
Now, get to October 3rd, 2003.
My cleaning lady was at the house, and we were in the garage. And not to disrupt her cleaning, this is my cleaning lady, we went in the garage. We started having a heated argument over things that were happening with all the kids at the hotel, and it turned into a pushing, shoving, spitting match. He proceeded to spit in my face.
What did you do to him?
Pushed him off of me, and that's how my finger got broken.
Just a second. You said to me it turned into a pushing, fighting, spitting match.
Well,
match is your term. Now you've told me what you say he did to you. You tell me what you did to him.
Happened to be in the same room.
Well, you just told me that you just, shh. Ms. Perez, you just told me that you broke your finger pushing him
off of me.
Well, how was he on you?
I was on the couch. He was towering over me.
You were on the couch in a garage.
Right. We had a computer, a television, a hockey table. It was like a game room.
So you're on the couch in the garage.
I don't allow smoking inside my house, and that's
You're on the couch in the garage, and he's on top of you.
Right.
And you pushed him off you.
That's correct.
And you broke your finger.
That's correct.
What else?
My cleaning lady at the time was inside cleaning the house. I went inside, got my keys, purse, and had to go pick up my 8-year-old from school. I went and picked up my 8-year-old from school, took him with me to the emergency room. And because he was with me, I really didn't want him knowing what was going on. So I went to the doctor and told him it had occurred from fooling around. Now, the break was a circular break, and it broke every...
You have the emergency room records?
I absolutely do, and
good
pictures.
Well, can I ask you this question?
I have a diagram.
Shh. I don't want a diagram. I don't want pictures. I asked you for the emergency room records. And if you were going to the emergency room, I assumed that you were just going to pick up your son so that he wouldn't be left out at school without someone caring for him.
That's correct.
Why didn't you take your housekeeper with you, who is here today, so that she could sit outside with your son if you were going to the emergency room?
She was leaving. She had another job to go to, and she
Did you ask her to stay?
No, I did not. I was leaving.
It was an emergency. You were going to the emergency room.
That's correct.
Told the doctor you were fooling around snapping kitchen towels.
That's correct, because my 8-year-old was with me, and I did not want to subject him to all the things going on. He had been around Joe since he was 2, and I really didn't want to crush or make him scared about any of the occurrences going on.
So what are you suing him now for? You don't think your son's going to know about this?
No, I've kept it from him.
Well,
he's in school.
10 million people watch this program, madam.
He's in school with after-school activities.
You got a lot of excuses.
He goes...
Mr. Delgado, you want to tell me what, if anything, you remember about October 3rd?
Your Honor, all I know is that we have a dog named Daisy that was a shepherd mix. We always used to take a towel, and she would get one in, and you'd grab her, and she'd like this and play with her. I came home. She said she was wrestling with the dog. Daisy pulled on the towel, and she broke her finger.
Your Honor?
She drove...
I don't want to hear you. You see how quiet he was?
She drove herself to the doctor and came home with the medical report, said her finger was broken, and they were going to wait and see for a few weeks whether she needed to have any surgery or anything else done on it. At the time, we had the same medical insurance. We were in the same house, everything. That was the last I ever heard it until 2 years later I get my 4th lawsuit from her about that.
Your Honor, I have a diagram drawn by the doctor, the surgeon, of what needs to be done to repair my finger. My cleaning lady was there at the house and can tell you what she heard from inside the house, and we were in the garage. Come on.
Tell me your name, please.
Yolanda Marcial.
How long have you worked for Miss Perez?
More than 8 years.
8 years. Why didn't you go with her to the emergency room, Miss Marcial?
Because I was working in the house. I was busy in the house, and I just getting ready to leave.
What time of the day were you getting finished with your job?
Around like 2 something.
In the afternoon?
2 something.
And where were you going?
To Oceanside.
What's in Oceanside?
I was working for another lady in Oceanside.
What time are you due there?
Around like, I got traffic around like 4 over there to Oceanside.
How long did you remain in the house after Miss Perez left to go and pick up her son?
When she left to get, around like maybe like 45 minutes.
Did Miss Perez ask you to accompany her to the emergency room?
No.
Did you offer to accompany her to the emergency room?
No.
When she came inside, did she show you her hand?
She walked with the hand like that, and I know that something happened because I heard screaming in the garage and fighting in the garage.
When you heard screaming and fighting in the garage, did you go into the garage?
No. I'm only the cleaning person, and nothing.
You heard screaming and fighting in the garage, and you didn't go in there? Did you call the police?
No.
You just went on vacuuming. Sit down, Miss Marcial. Put your hand down.
I have pictures.
Not interested in the pictures. More interested in the statement that you made to the doctor when you went in there.
I had my 8-year-old with me.
I don't believe that that's the reason you make up that kind of a lie.
I had to.
No, you don't. You have to say, would you go sit over there? And, doctor, I want to tell you privately what happened. That's what you do. I mean, otherwise, the doctor believes what you're saying, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Because you give the doctor information, because based upon that information, it helps them treat whatever's wrong with you.
I came up with that story to protect my child.
No, that's a lot of baloney. That's baloney. I'm older than you are. I've been to the emergency room, both with myself and my children. Over the course of the years, little things happen. And you can always say, go over and sit there with that nice nurse for a second because the doctor wants to see me.
Your Honor, I tried to call 911, and he threw the phone and broke it.
Listen to me very carefully. You were out of the house. You went to pick up your child. You say to her, do me a favor, leave now and call the police. I'm leaving now. I'm going to the police. You did nothing. You did absolutely nothing except go to the emergency room on the 3rd for whatever reason and tell the doctor that you hurt yourself fooling around with a towel.
I was protecting my child.
You keep saying that, and I keep saying to you, I don't believe you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Get over it. Put a period. He doesn't want to have anything to do with you anymore. It was 5 years out of your life. Move on.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Linda Perez is accusing her ex-boyfriend, Joseph Delgado Jr., of damaging her car and breaking her finger.
Now, there's a lawsuit that she filed against you that she won a judgment for $1,000.
No, ma'am, she didn't win a judgment. She dropped the lawsuit. I paid the $1,000.
Tell me about that $1,000, sir.
After we'd split up, we hadn't talked for a while. I was behind on my taxes. Finally, I called Linda a couple times and talked to her, and we kind of were in an amicable position where I said, listen, I need to file my taxes. So she agreed that she would give me my tax paperwork and everything back.
Why did you leave without your tax paperwork?
I left just about everything I had there.
Why?
Because we're just not getting along, and that was enough.
When did you leave?
I don't remember the exact date, but I was out of there by the end of October.
So there came a time that you called her and said to her what?
That I wasn't coming back.
Taxes.
Oh, taxes. Well, I had asked for this before I left California, you know, and I was not.
Fine. So she said she'd give you your paperwork.
And finally, in about April of 2004, and then what she's telling the truth about the accountant, we used her accountant. I have the paperwork here. And I flew out here on May 15, 2004. We all three met. It was a respectable day. We didn't fight. Nothing happened. We didn't argue. She brought the paperwork, she said. The accountant did the paperwork, and she did write the check for the $1,000, and I paid that back. And then I got back to Kansas City, where I live. And then on August 24th, I get from Blockbuster Video a bill from Canoga Park, 10 movies all rented in one day under my name. So I called out there and I said, listen.
Can I see that, please?
I said, I don't live in California. I haven't been in California.
Your Honor, all of our kids have the same Blockbuster card.
Well, yes, they do. And this is where it got real interesting, where Blockbuster knew who exactly rented them. Because our kids before, both of our older boys, would go down and rent movies, and we had late fees, Linda and I went to Blockbuster, and we put a password on our account. So in order to rent movies, you had to know that password. When I called this Blockbuster and said, I don't know this money, they said, yes, you're the primary person on the account, and the person that used that account used the password to get those movies. They rented all 10 of them one day and never brought one of them back.
That was in August of 2004.
And that's after all this. Sorry.
Okay. Tell me about the return of the $1,000, sir.
I took my credit card at Bank of America in Kansas City, and I went down and put that into her account.
So what was the lawsuit about?
I don't remember all the there was a couple of things in there she was suing me for, but that was part of it. Immediately after I got back, she filed the lawsuit. I should have paid it quicker, but, you know, I had told her. But we were in contact the whole time. She knew. And then I went down and paid it. Then I flew out here. Then the lawsuit got canceled after I'd flown all the way out here. Then I go back home. Then this happens. All, you know, it's like this card thing happened, this finger thing happened. But yet we're doing the taxes. We finally got the paperwork settled together. We meet at a restaurant to eat. You know what? You drop the lawsuit. I pay the money. She just said that. Then the Blockbuster thing happens out of no reason. 2 years later, I get 4 more lawsuits. Now I'm going to fly back out here again. And at the time, the finger in the car insurance, we had even the same car insurance until December 12th. We never had any claims. We never had any problems. The health insurance that she went to the doctor with was my health insurance.
Your Honor, he got fired from...
I'm speaking. When did you file the lawsuit with regard to the taxes?
September of 04.
When did you drop that lawsuit?
The end of September of 04.
When did you file this lawsuit?
October 27th, I believe.
All right. Ms. Perez, I'm not going to totally annihilate you. I'm just going to do it very, very quickly because, quite frankly, I have more important... I'm speaking! Your complaint says that the reason you didn't file this lawsuit sooner was because Joe went on the run and I was unable to locate him because he left the state. In September 2004, I was finally able to find him, and I immediately filed a small claims case against Joe for my car and assault damages. Once he was served, he contacted me, begged me to drop the case, and said he would start making payments. When I received his first payment of $1,000, I went and dismissed the case without prejudice. That is a lie. That's a lie. Because the case that you dismissed in September of 2004 had nothing to do with the car and the assault. It had, I'm speaking, it had to do with the taxes, that he paid you the $1,000, so you dismissed that case. That's what you just told me.
It wasn't solely the taxes.
And you told me that you filed this case September 27th, 2005. Get over it. Put a period. He doesn't want to have anything to do with you anymore. It was 5 years out of your life. Move on. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy, 19-year-old Gabriel Chavarria is suing his ex-girlfriend, 19-year-old Erica Kallick, for burning his clothes and punching him.
All rise. Quiet in the courtroom. All rise. Now, this is case number 352 on the calendar in the matter of Chavarria versus Calic. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Chavarria, the defendant is your former girlfriend, according to your complaint, after an argument at your sister's house. Is this your sister?
That is correct.
Miss Calic assaulted you, and later she burned some clothes that you had been laundering at her house. Miss Calic says she didn't burn your clothes, she doesn't know what you're talking about, but that you assaulted her during this altercation, and she is counterclaiming. Now, when did this altercation take place at your sister's house?
On October 7, 2005.
Tell me about it.
I was in the process of moving my clothing from my friend's house to my mom's house. So I asked Erica if I can do my laundry at her mom's house, and she said yeah.
Why didn't you do the laundry at your mother's house?
Because she doesn't have a washer and dryer.
Do you have a key to that house?
No.
How did you get in?
Her brother was there.
Who was this?
That's her brother.
Did you let him into the house?
No, he wasn't there. Like, I don't remember him letting him in.
Don't speak. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and I did my laundry, and there's some things that I dry, and then there's other things that I hang up. So I hung up all my clothing in her closet.
You hung up wet clothes in her closet?
I hung up my jeans, some of my work shirts, a couple sweaters, and that's about it.
Go ahead.
So I went and picked her up at about 12:30.
Where did you pick her up from?
From school.
Where do you go to school?
At Spokane Community College.
What are you studying?
I'm going for administrative systems.
What time did he pick you up at school?
12:30.
And where did you go?
We went back to my house.
When you got back to your house, was his laundry dry or wet?
When he left him from his friend's house, they were still in his trunk. He never did laundry at my house. He was going to, but we ended up going to go look for apartments to live in.
How do you know they were in his trunk?
Because he had brought them from his friend Mike's house.
What I'm asking you, Miss Calic, is how do you know his clothes were in his trunk?
Okay, I don't know. I'm assuming that they were.
Fine. What did you go to your house for?
Because we went and got a paper, and we sat there at my house and like circled apartments and called and made appointments to go look at the apartments.
Where was your brother?
He was in his room.
Did you see him there?
Yes.
Did you go into his room?
Yes.
He didn't come out to you. You went into his room.
Well, not at this time. He was...
I'm just asking you a question.
No, I went into his room.
That's what I asked you. Next.
When we were looking for apartments, we went to one place, and we didn't really like it, so we decided to go to my sister's house, Clarissa. Me and Clarissa's ex-boyfriend went to the store, and when I came back, my friend Mike said Erica's in the room talking to her ex-boyfriend. So I went to listen on the phone to see if it was true, and she was on the phone talking.
Just a second. What do you mean you went to listen in on the phone?
I went into my sister's room to
And you picked up the extension?
Yeah.
That's pretty gross.
Okay. Then I went into the room and asked Erica why she was calling her ex-boyfriend, and then she said, "Why do you care?" And I said, "Because I'm your boyfriend." I was like, "Would you want me to be calling my ex-girlfriend at one of your brother or sister's house and then be trying to hide it from my sisters like you're doing, like you're going to go cheat on me or something?" Then she got up and she's like, "Oh, you're always so jealous," and she started cussing me out and screaming at me. Then I took the phone from her, and then that's
How
when
did you get the phone from her?
Because I told her to leave.
Well, so far, all I'm hearing is, and I said to her, how would you think you would feel if it were me talking to an ex-girlfriend at your brother's house? And I took the phone from her. Tell me how you took the phone from her, sir. The phone is in her hand, yes.
And then I grabbed the phone from her.
Okay, well, now we get to the grab part. You grabbed the phone from her hand, and what happened when you grabbed the phone from her hand?
I told her to leave my sister's house.
You grabbed the phone from her hand. Did she pull back?
No.
She just gave you the phone?
She didn't give it to me. She tried to keep it in her hand.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Pay careful attention. Life has a certain rhythm to it. There are certain natural things that happen. Yeah. And when you get to be my age, things become more natural. You know, if it doesn't make sense, it usually doesn't happen. So that she's talking to the ex-boyfriend on the phone. You go to grab the phone out of her hand. She pulls back. You pull back. So now you're in a struggle for the phone, right?
Correct.
And then what happened, sir?
So I had the phone in my hand.
How did you do that?
I took the phone from her hand.
You overpowered her.
That is correct.
And?
And then that's when she hit me in my temple and once in my nose. And then I pushed her And during the whole thing, that's when my sister walked in and was trying to pull us away from each other. And so I was walking outside, and that's when Erica pulled me back in and was hitting me all over in my neck, in my chest, and my back. And then I hit her in the eye because it was for self-defense. I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't get away from her.
So the police came, and what happened when the police came?
Okay, before the police came, I was outside smoking a cigarette, and then Mercedes, Erica's daughter, came outside and asked me if I can give them a ride home. I said, yeah, and that's when Erica came barging outside and slammed the door open, and this door hit Mercedes in the face and gave her a bloody nose. And I was like, Erica, what are you doing? And then she said, look at my eye. And then I was like, look at my face, Erica. Look at what you did. If you didn't hit me first, I wouldn't have to defend myself.
What injuries did you have on your face?
I had cuts and bruises above my eye, under my eye. I had a couple lumps on my head. And
when the police came, did they arrest you?
No.
Did they arrest her?
No, because she wasn't there. She left before the police came.
Did you file
my part of the story? Because this...
I'm going to get to you.
Okay. Well, no.
I'm going to get to you.
Okay.
Does anybody have a copy of the police report?
No.
No.
According to the plaintiff, you had a prior incident involving domestic violence with him. Is that true?
Correct.
When was that?
June 2nd, 2005.
Were you taken into custody on that day?
Yes, I was.
How did you assault him?
I slapped him.
So that you're not a stranger to slapping him.
Oh, no. I've done it before.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Just because you're the woman doesn't give you the right to put your hands on another person. And if you put your hands on another person, you hurt them a little bit, and they hurt you a lot, that comes under the category of too bad.
And later today...
If you don't pay child support for your child, you're a bum.
Yeah, basically.
Perfect.
It would have been his second time going to jail for not paying his child support.
That's a bum times two.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 19-year-old Gabriel Chavarria says ex-girlfriend Erica Kallick owes for burning his clothes and punching him. Erica is countersuing, claiming Gabriel gave her a black eye.
What happened when he pulled the phone away from you?
He didn't even pull the phone away from me.
So tell me what happened when he came into the bedroom, which you acknowledged that he did.
Yes.
Came into the bedroom and you got into a heated argument about you're allegedly speaking to a former boyfriend.
I wasn't speaking to anybody. It was his friend Mike that was talking to my ex-boyfriend because they're friends, and they were going to go out to a party or something.
So you never got on the phone to say hello?
No, never.
So when he came inside and said, what's going on? Let me hear.
He stood up, and, well, I stood up because I was sitting on the floor. And
what were you doing sitting on the floor?
We were all sitting on the floor.
Who's all?
Me, his friend Mike, and his other sister.
You mean the two of you weren't alone in the room at the time?
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
And I stood up because he got on the other line and he heard my ex-boyfriend talking, but I wasn't speaking to him. So he came in and said that I was trying to call him, and it's just common sense that why I wouldn't call my ex-boyfriend at his sister's house. So I stood up and he was calling me all these names and pushed me, so I pushed him back and he hit me in the room. It wasn't in the living room or where he said it was. It was in the room, and I fell back on the bed and got up and then pushed him again, and we just kind of got in a fight, but I didn't punch him or slap him or anything. And then he had a scratch right here, and that was the only thing that he had. I have pictures.
Just a second. He had a scratch from what?
Well, I'm guessing I scratched him. I don't remember.
Well, you must have scratched him because according to you, all I heard was I pushed him.
No, and then we got into a fight. But I didn't punch him or anything, like you said.
You scratched him?
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
I guess.
Let me ask you this question, madam. If you scratched him and he just had a little scratch over here, you think that he overreacted by punching you in the eye?
Yes, I do.
That's too bad. If you put your hands on somebody and scratch them, give them a little scratch, sometimes you get, listen to me, sometimes you get the worst of the deal. Somebody's going to get the bad part of a bargain every time there's an altercation, a physical altercation. Somebody's going to get hurt a little bit more than another person. And just because you're the woman doesn't give you the right to put your hands on another person. And if you put your hands on another person, you hurt them a little bit, and they hurt you a lot, that comes under the category of too bad.
It was in self-defense, Your Honor.
Listen to me. Listen to me. That comes under the category of too bad. You can't scratch him and then say, well, I can scratch you, but you better not punch me in the eye. You better not give me a black eye. Now, when he gave you the black eye, were you angry?
Of course.
And then you went home with your daughter. Now, Did you hurt your daughter that day?
No, I didn't. She got a bloody nose, but I did not do it.
Well, who did it?
I don't know.
That should have been your primary concern, not your black eye, how your 4-year-old daughter got a bloody nose.
It wasn't. That was not my concern.
Listen to me. Because according to him, he says he knows how your daughter got it. You came, you opened the door on her face, and that's how she got a bloody nose. Then you put her in the car and you took her home. When did you notice her bloody nose?
Right away, right when it happened.
Well, if you noticed it right when it happened, how did it happen?
Because my back was faced toward her, and then she started crying. I said, what happened? She goes, I got hit in the nose, and it was bleeding. That's the only thing. Then I grabbed her and walked downstairs and walked to my mom's work because he wouldn't give me a ride home.
Let me see an inventory, sir, about what you allege was in her house.
All my clothes were in her house, but I had to go and get new clothes. These are just the receipts of all my clothes that I had to buy. And here's a letter from my supervisor from all the scratches and cuts and welts on my head.
Listen to me. I believe she assaulted you. I believe that you hit her and gave her a black eye. Terrific. That's quite a way to behave in front of a 4-year-old.